Yeah, I actually got to run an event at the camp in 23. I did a sea shanty event and got to bring people in and indoctrinate them into the pirate lifestyle. The best part for me was I got the words live, laugh, loot in the what, where, and when.
Nice.
It's my next tattoo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it would be a good one for you. I actually, I met y'all at the listener appreciation party this year, and I had a bit of a tragedy afterwards.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I did something real stupid, which is kind of emerging to be a theme in this conversation. I went to, we had some friends getting married, so I wanted to get a nice snazzy outfit. So I went to Costume Cult for the first time. And I know this will be common sense to 99.9% of the humans that ever listen to this, but if you're one of the 0.01%, you want to make sure that when you take your clothes off to try on other clothing, that you make it real damn clear that your clothing is not up for grabs.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you what, the biggest tragedy is I got somebody to join Gate in 23. And when you do that, you get this badass cross pin with a skull on the inside of it. And it is my most cherished Burning Man possession. And that pin was on my the hat that I had. I also had my Gate patches on my coveralls I was wearing. And those are all gone.
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's okay. You know, I don't give two shits about the clothes. Like, somebody's
Stolen
probably doing
valor, though.
Oh, that's what I'm saying, right? Yeah, we can't have that.
Right? Whoever stole that, they're not a sergeant.
No, of course not.
Maybe next year you'll hear some scuttlebutt in the black hole about how some asshole donated his fucking patched up clothes to Costume Cult. How could any self-respecting gator do that?
Oh no, they'll kick me out of Gate. I can't work for free anymore. That'll be awful. I'll tell you what, working Gate, working the lanes is the most special thing at Burning Man. I mean, it is being that, at least for the first couple hours of a shift and the first couple shifts that you work on, like that fifth or sixth shift when you're trying to cram them in early on a burn, they start to lose their luster a touch. But being, especially like doing opening night and they light off like that big old gas bomb or whatever they do. Is that what it's called? Am I allowed to say that word?
I think so.
Fuel bomb?
Yeah, there it is. Thank you. You know, being that you're that first person that's like standing in between them and getting, you know, into the event and you know,
they'll run you down.
Yeah, you're not lying. Oh, and I just love how like acceptable it is in working the lanes to be a bit of a dick and yell at people. It's so good.
Back in your car.
Yes. Oh my God. Like, so good. So good. It's wonderful. Yeah, I crammed a bunch of shifts in early in the burn in 23. I was running like a 6-hour shift, 6 hours off, another 6-hour shift.
Oh, Jesus.
And I was starting to get a little loopy there at the end. And at one point, I had convinced myself that I had left my ticket scanner, which, by the way, if you've never worked Gate, just know that Gate don't fuck around with ticket scanners. That shit is like, it's like the nuclear codes. Ticket stubs and ticket scanners are gold to those people. And I definitely thought I left a ticket scanner in a vehicle, like an RV, and I'm freaking out. The truth is that I just never picked another one up after I went to the bathroom.
At least it wasn't dangling from your belt.
Welcome to Accuracy Third. My name is D-Day.
I'm Rex.
I'm Beth.
And today on Accuracy Third, we have easily one of the top 5 funniest interviews we have ever had with anyone ever.
Well, I mean, only because we had to shit can that George Carlin interview. Such a shame.
George Carlin AI does not count as George Carlin.
We don't know if it was AI or a really good impressionist on the other end of that line. That's the thing about Collins. We don't know who you are.
Who we interview today, Beth, the interviewee you are about to hear is one Compost Queen.
Oh, I've heard Compost Queen was great.
Compost Queen was great.
Compost Queen was, shall we say, spectacular.
All
Yeah,
right.
real good stories about some real stupid shit happening on Playa. Beth, Rex, have you ever seen some real stupid shit on Playa? Isn't that a great question? How have we not been asking everyone that?
So sometimes when you ask about injury, what you get is a horror story of someone witnessing something terrible. And that wasn't exactly what we were going for, but maybe stupid shit.
Yeah, just dumb shit.
So many injuries out there are so hilariously dumb.
But what is the best dumb shit you've seen is slightly, if not quite broader than that?
Yeah. And you can choose to avoid the scary, awful experiences that you've had because those aren't dumb. They're scary and awful.
Right. But Beth.
Yes.
What do you think of when I ask if you have seen some dumb shit on Playa?
Honestly, the first thing that comes to my mind is the year I took the jailbait bar, the candy-infused vodka bar, where we had 18 different varieties of candy-infused vodka.
Uh-huh.
And a bar, Playa Tech bar, covered in photos of kids' toys and sex toys, all with the same white background. This is when I realized that sex toys were being sold in the same fashion as, like, kids' toys on the internet. So printed out a bunch of them, shellacked them on there. And then we had all of these kinds of vodka. When my camp did the original tasting of it, we'd gotten in a little bit earlier because we were biodiesel shipping service. And we did a tasting. And we started that tasting with, hey, guys, remember, all of this is 100... It's vodka. It's not cut with anything. It doesn't taste like that because it's got candy absorbed into it. But it is actually just... You're drinking straight vodka.
Yep. Straight vodka and sugar. Mm-hmm. The worst possible combination.
Straight vodka and sugar. And
it's the champagne of vodka.
And we decided to taste all of them. So we passed around a little snifter all around. And there was a couple of people at the end of the line that were just finishing every drink that we passed out. And then later that night, some folks who should not be named, on Monday night, as people are entering to go to their camp, were blackout drunk, fucking on the ground in the middle of the street. That is some of the dumbest shit I've ever seen, and it still pleases me to this day.
Pretty great.
Yeah.
Rex, you got a dumb shit that springs to mind?
There's been so much dumb shit.
I know.
I mean, spilling big puddle of caustic acid on the Playa.
Yeah. 5 gallons.
That was some dumb shit.
5 gallons of phosphoric acid.
Yeah, that was
some peak dumb shit.
What do you even use phosphoric acid for out there?
Cleaning off the chains and cables that are used for center camp canopy.
Oh, to like get rid of rust?
Yeah. To get rid of the Playa, to neutralize the Playa and to keep the metal fresh.
Oh, God. Pounding rebar stakes in an active lightning storm?
I feel seen.
That was pretty fucking stupid.
Shut up. It was an earlier time. I was not a father then. I was immediately thinking of the wedge.
I was gonna say the wedge, but that seems so obvious.
I thought of this ski slope on the inside of the ring this year.
The ski slope, at least you have the chance to go down safely if you're coordinated, or even like on a sled.
Yeah.
There was no way to go down the wedge and not at least like come up with some contusions.
Even more than the wedge, though, I was thinking about the plywood water slide.
That was before my time.
It was before your time, and it was tucked away. The plywood being lipped in the wrong direction for you to go down and not be caught on the next piece of plywood.
Oh, God.
The garden hose just at the top. And the fact that I saw it like a day or two later wrapped in caution tape and condemned by the city. All of that.
That might have been the last water feature of Burning Man.
Perhaps one of them.
Yeah, there was.
I mean, there's still the foam camp.
Yeah, but that's not.
Hosed.
There was back in ancient times. There were fountains that people got in and made themselves sick. Oof. There was that giant ice ball full of clocks that melted out on Playa.
Yeah, that thing was cool. I forgot about that.
One of my professors at Cornish told me about that.
There's one thing that I've seen over and over again, and it makes me smile every time, and it's the dumbest fucking thing, and it's low-speed synchronized head-on bicycle collisions where two bikes are coming at each other at like 3 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And they both turn in the
see each
same
other and are
direction over and
desperately
over
trying-
again.
No one will start communicating. It is just slow motion dumb shit.
They'll mirror each other.
They'll sometimes communicate, but it'll be like turn,
Right.
turn.
Yeah, making noise is not communication.
I have seen so many of these, and almost none of them result in anything other than just like bump.
Some genitals to a bar.
Though I have seen a lot of slightly more catastrophic bike-on-bike interactions, but they're rarely the nose-to-nose stuff.
Hey, bicyclists out there, if you aren't one of the many tall ship sailors that are going to Burning Man, riding a bike is like a ship. If you aren't changing perspective with the other bicycle, you're headed right at each other. So if they aren't moving across your field of vision, if they stay in the same place with your field of vision, that means you're headed right at them. So don't do that.
It's coming right for us.
Be better sailors.
Be better sailors. And that will inherently make you a better bicycle rider.
The point of all of this is you're about to hear some real dumb shit stories from our friend Compost Queen and his friend Tarzan. And just so the listeners know, this was a call-in interview, and sometimes the audio pixelates a little bit. But it's fine. It's worth it. You'll be able to get through it. Don't at me in the comments. I don't care.
We are all set up. Hi, welcome. Who the fuck are you?
I am Compost Queen.
Nice.
And what does that mean?
That means that I was the LNT lead for the camp that I was with for my first 3 years, BRCU, Black Rock Center for Unlearning. And I guess I was a bit of a queen about the whole thing.
Wow, that's an impressive Playa name to get from an internal camp. I was kind of expecting you to work for DPW LNT or something.
No, I identify as Gate, and I thoroughly enjoy when people are expecting something completely different when they see my name and then see who I am.
That might just be a Gate thing.
I think it might be, yeah.
I do think that Gate is the only department that people identify as.
That's true, and I got that from you all, I will admit.
Folks don't identify as DPW or Rangers?
No.
Cafe?
No. Folks are told they are Rangers and given a hat.
Uh-huh.
And DPW people are just punk rockers in the dust.
Yeah, DPW is less of an identity and more of like it's like a squad.
But like Gate blossoms out of Tim Burton movies.
In part, at least.
And Bauhaus, the band, not the movement.
You know, I am on my, I think, 3rd or 4th year with Gate, and I am still not there with the black hole. Like, I love the place, and I visit, but I am not the cool kid in there yet. Or I never will be, but not cool enough to be there.
Well, that's good. It's maybe suboptimal to like party where you volunteer, because then you're just never going to leave the workplace.
It's true. Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, partying in the workplace is a benefit of Burning Man, though. So
That's true. I'm not saying don't party while you're on shift. Just saying maybe, go party at a different bar when you're off shift.
True. Yeah. No, I mean, incredible people. I absolutely love being a part of Gate.
Yeah, no shade on the Black Hole. It's my favorite bar on our block.
Yeah, being a part of a camp for 3 years, that one of the main gifts that we bring to Burning Man is a 24-hour bar. Ooh. And having that as a home bar and really being able to like learn Burning Man with the bar being there and like constant interaction all day and night long, kind of like supercharged, me figuring out the event early on.
Yeah, for real. So let's start there. How did we hook you in?
So I'll be bringing up an individual quite a bit as we talk today. So I'm just going to rip this Band-Aid off and introduce my best friend for probably 25 years at this point. His name is Tarzan.
Nice.
Tarzan.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm familiar.
Oh, good.
Yeah, plane crash, parental tragedy, that whole thing.
Oh yeah, no, it's a whole thing. And in I think October of 2018, he came to my house when he was leaving. He just kind of dropped it of like, we need to go to Burning Man, and I had never heard of it before, and I just said, okay, sounds good, and totally blown away by just like this thing that existed for so long in the way that it does, and what happens there, and I never really knew about it.
Yeah, that's kind of wild. What part of the world are you from?
East Coast, USA, New Jersey.
And how old are you?
36, I think.
Yeah, a little bit too young to read that X-Force comic in the 90s.
And I was not a Malcolm in the Middle fan. Fuck Frankie Muniz.
Oh, man, that fucking episode is something else.
That actually might be the only episode of that show that I like in any way. And only because I can kind of really get down with Malcolm's dad's art project.
There is a lot of Malcolm's dad's pathos in Malcolm in the Middle in certain episodes. But this isn't a Malcolm in the Middle podcast. This is a podcast about Compost Queen.
Look, this thing has evolved over the years, and we can continue to grow it. And right now, we can really make this a
yeah, we'll do an offshoot. Fine. We're doing a Malcolm in the Middle podcast. I'll make a website, I guess.
Yeah, it's called Fuckfrankie. We're just going to talk about how bad he is at using his shoulders to buffer his bad acting, and how embarrassing it is that character was supposed to be smart.
No one remembers this enough to have the context for what you're talking about. Shoulder acting, Muniz.
Just go watch any Frankie Muniz and look at his shoulders. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Shoulder acting.
Some people only know to shrug.
He's like this all the time. Ear acting, shoulder acting, ankle acting. It's just acting, man. My body is my instrument.
Well, it's kind of like the restaurant industry, you know, like everything's a restaurant, but there's different types of cuisine. Mm-hmm. It's all acting, but there's finger acting and pelvis acting.
I'm doing the hot dog cart of acting.
Some restaurants are more than one restaurant.
You know, speaking of pelvis acting.
Yes, please.
We can depart from my early Burning Man journeys for now. I'd like to revisit at some point, but I'd like to talk about this year.
Oh, yeah. Let's get the fresh take.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about what I believe is my greatest Burning Man achievement, probably greatest achievement in life ever.
Oh, well. Okay,
so
let's go ahead and signpost this since our stuff is a little timeless. We're going to be talking about Black Rock City 2024.
Yep, we sure are. And I'm going to Quentin Tarantino this for everyone. We're going to start with the ending and then go back.
Yes.
I am the winner, co-winner, and I'll get to that, of Best Balls on Playa.
Oh. Holy shit. I did not realize we had royalty up in this piece.
And if you follow the Burning Man subreddit and saw a post that got quite a bit of traction a few weeks ago, you know how this story ends.
Do not.
Okay. All right. Good. I'm actually excited that you don't, because I get to experience this. We get to experience this together.
I'm ready.
So I'm a kilt wearer. I feel like I may have gotten the idea from one of your early episodes. It might even be one of your kind of in-doc to Burning Man episodes where Beth got real drunk and is talking about how nice it is when gentlemen wear kilts with no underpants. So been doing kilts for a few years out there now, and you always got to wear underwear. I mean, you're on a bicycle, the seat, and everything that can go wrong there, get hot, chafing issues.
Oh yeah.
But one day this year, I just decided to freeball it and really liberate myself. Having a great morning, and Tarzan and a companion of his decide they want to go to the Slut Olympics. I'd heard of them, but I had never seen them before over at Slut Garden. So we go out, and there was 4 of us in the group, but Tarzan and his companion got separated from us. So I'm there, and I'm watching, and I see people are volunteering for these events, and somebody, they ask who has great balls. And I've actually had a really long-standing core belief that I have really good balls. Like, outside of the context of this.
It's nothing that's ever entered my mind.
Because you probably don't have great balls.
That's what I'm thinking.
Right? But like great mohawk. I'm sure you've acknowledged
Thank
that
you.
before.
Pendulous balls, but I'm not sure they're
I'm
great.
pretty sure you only know the quality of your balls if they're really awesome or really heinous.
What can we just real quick? What is an example of heinous balls?
Like one's the size of a plum, one's the size of a cherry tomato.
You know, one has way too much dangle on it. The other one like won't retract ever. Is just
A lot of cleavage in between them.
scabby.
Instead of pubes, there's just really long, luscious hair.
Yeah, or like
Lady Godiva
really
balls.
stubby and thick, like little pieces of black rice coming out of it.
It's like Demi Moore's hair just hanging off. Anywho,
But this isn't a testicle talk podcast. This is a podcast. Wait, no, it is. This is about Burning Man. Sorry.
it's Frankie Muniz's balls. So right away, you know, I'm like, oh, this is a contest about balls. Like, I'm up. So volunteer, get up there on the stage. And I think there was 10 to 12 contestants. I was there in the middle. And there is 2 women are the judges. And they, you know, go to check the first person's balls. And they're like, okay, great size, great hang. How much pain can they take? And right there, I'm like, oh, I understand what I signed up for. And some mental math starts to take place. So like, okay, I start to steel myself because now the judges are walking around with a crop flogging gentlemen in the balls. So they come up to me and I just know that no matter how bad this hurts, I am not going to show pain. So they get me pretty good. And I just stay stone-faced and I'm in the game. So they go down the line, they get everybody. The gentleman next to me had giant grapefruit balls, by the way, and he just couldn't take any pain on those things. There may be an issue there. I hope he gets that checked out. He was lovely.
Suddenly realized that this is not a normal size.
Even if you're only exaggerating by half, that's too much.
Yeah, they were like crushed golf balls. It was So they work the line and they're like, all right, we don't have enough data yet to make a decision. We're going to do this again. And I'm like, I really need to differentiate myself from the pack here. And this is where the no underpants with the kilt really comes into play. And the kilt too, because the kilt kind of acts like curtains for what I do next, which is when they come up to me, I turn around with my back to the crowd and I go into a lunge. So I get a good hang, lift up the kilt, much like curtains. And I get the best possible angle for this flog to come in. So I'm kind of egging them on at this point, getting a little cocky, being a bit of a showman, if you will. And that's when one of the judges says, who's wearing like 8-inch stilettos or whatever giant stilettos are. Not much of a stiletto expert myself. And she just looks at me and says, get on your back. And I'm like, well,
Oh boy.
I'm like, okay, sounds like a plan.
I want to be stepping on him.
And that is where we go.
Oh, it's the only place you can go.
So
She's not wearing those shoes to not step on guys' balls.
her giant stilettos come careening down on my coin purse.
Oh,
Crowd goes wild, but I think I'm running away.
Asshole crowd you hang out with.
I'm running away with this thing at this point. I mean, I'm unbeatable. And then my top competition, and I believe I'm not going to say his Playa name. I'm not going to out the man, even though he's a legend.
Stephen Ballsacks.
But if you follow the Reddit thread, you will see his Playa name, which is really ironic for what happened here. So he gets his ball stepped on as well. So we're neck and neck at this point. And, we just keep one-upping each other, and it's a tie. We tie for winner of best balls. Here's where it starts to get a little sporty. Him and I are celebrating, raise each other's hands, gives me a hug, and as he's hugging me,
Heart attack.
that's way worse than what happens.
Well, that's good.
No, he doesn't have a heart attack, but an injury is sustained, and here we go. I really think that he is kind of like pulling back as he hugs me, kind of encouraging me to wrap my legs around his waist. So I do it, and he is air humping me. We're having a great time. And then all of a sudden, I feel a pop
Oh no.
in the gentleman's knee region. And we both come crumbling down to the floor. And, we're kind of laughing. I'm like, are you okay? He's like, did your boot just hit my leg or something? I'm like, no, your knee just exploded. On top of this, once I got on stage and we went through the first round of flogging, I hear my name behind me. Behind the stage, there was a little bit of space where people could wedge in between. And I turn around to see freaking Tarzan right behind the stage. So he kind of became like my corner man. Like in between rounds, we would kind of work out strategy on what to do next. So the gentleman was carted off. He wasn't able to leave under his own power. Through Reddit, that's what the Reddit post was about, trying to figure out if this guy was okay. He did show up at the trash fence on crutches a night later.
Well, at least he got to stay. But like that'll ruin your burn.
So I was really proud. I mean, what an incredible accomplishment. Burning Man, we're talking 70,000 people, the best balls. I mean, there's two.
Best balls still standing.
Right. Oh, no.
I think the ability to carry those balls around under your own volition, that gives you an edge.
I'm going around and I'm bragging a little bit. I headed over to, I stayed out pretty late that night, and probably 1 o'clock in the morning, I go to Golden Guy. Everybody's kind of wrapping up, but I go to this one bar, and we're having a good time. I'm bragging about my best balls, and there's some gentlemen with a red tramp stamp, and they want to tramp stamp the word tramp all over my balls.
Yep.
Which I let them do, of course, right? I go to another bar, and I kind of forget that I have stamp all over my balls. And, of course, I'm talking about how great they are. And the guy's like, well, let me see. And I pull out my kilt, and there's now smeared red ink all over my balls. And he looks at them, and he's like, oh, what the fuck is wrong with your balls? And I kind of look at him like, what? And I look down, I'm like, oh no. They're fine, seriously.
The irony that your balls were red and horrible, but not because of the flogging or stomp. My God.
So props to those guys at Golden Guy. They were really lovely. And to the gentleman who, blew out his knee. I really hope he's doing okay.
Man,
It sounds like an experience was had at Burning Man.
Right? That's a peak burn experience right there. That's one for the books.
I'm a longtime listener. I actually, I listened long before I went to my first burn, starting in 2018. My first burn is in 19. I prepped for the burn listening to your podcast, and I'd always had it in my head, like maybe it's time to come on and chat. And I think it was finally earning best balls where I was like, I have something to bring to the table. Balls.
Yeah, you can really hang your whole Burning Man experience off that.
My identity, really.
Absolutely.
You can, but you shouldn't do that for more than 2 or 2.5 hours at a stretch, because otherwise you could damage your circulation.
True. Yeah, I'm definitely going back to retain my title next year. So if anybody wants to see my balls, that's going to be the place to do.
Oh my God, you should make yourself a little wrestling champion belt to strap around your balls.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
In fact, you probably don't even need to. You can probably get a wrestling belt cock ring.
I was going to say that exists.
What do you mean probably?
Look, Rule 34 applies to a lot of stuff, not necessarily to cock rings.
I just don't believe that there is anyone who watches a bunch of WWE and isn't tugging on their balls like half the time.
I mean, you could replace WWE in that sentence with anything, and that's still going to be accurate.
That's Rule 34 for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Iron Chef.
Yep.
Playing with the balls.
Young and the Restless.
Balls. Bob's Burgers.
Absolutely.
Balls.
Oh, God, I get such a rush when they reveal the ingredient.
It's so good. It's pretty wild.
Asparagus flour.
A sturgeon roll battle!
From the old Iron Chefs. Yeah. It's so good. So good. Anyway, so Burning Man, right? Been to 4 burns, and each travel situation has been pretty different, right? I think 3 from the East Coast. I moved to California 2020 to 2022, and I'm not sure if you heard, but
you picked the best time to be here.
Those weren't great years. But what I did get to do, and this is pretty awesome.
Sit on my couch in my house by myself.
That was 2020. In 21, my camp got an invitation to an event they held at the 360. Are you all familiar with the 360?
Uh-huh.
Where the boxes live.
The boxes live there. 360 is right down the road, whatever road that is, from the burn. And it is a year-round site that the org maintains, and they have spots for containers there. They try to do some year-round engagement there as well. It's a part of, what is it, the cultural
direction setting?
Yeah, sure. But the really cool thing is it was a couple days long. It was just great to be on Playa at that time. Got to go out to one of the hot springs there and didn't catch any bacterial skin-eating fungus, which is cool. We got to go to dinner at Crimson Rose's house.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Crimson and what's her husband's name? It's escaping me.
Will Rogers?
Yes. Yeah. So we got to hang out with Crimson and Will. That's actually where I met Leeway. And he taught me the meaning of the word serendipity.
Yeah, he would.
Like literally taught you or displayed serendipity in a notorious way?
Well, both, because Leeway teaching me what serendipity means is serendipitous. But no, I actually did not know the definition of serendipity as a 30-something-year-old man. So I actually, if I got to redo my entire life, that's one thing that I wouldn't change is having Leeway teach me that.
Yeah, that's pretty potent.
So it was great in the 2-year COVID hiatus to be able to, get a little taste of Burning Man. And I'll tell you what, I know there's a lot of thoughts on what's going on, with the org and direction, and it would be great if we don't talk about that at all. But there was one of the board members at the time who I don't think is on the board anymore. His name was Chef. He was a remarkable dude with some really good ideas for the organization. I got to meet him there. I also got to pick some sagebrush weeds from around a Burning Man organization compound for about 3 hours with a fork, which was pretty dope.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity to do real solid Western manual labor out there.
Yeah. Fork isn't my weeding implement of choice, but it's, we worked with it. It was great.
It's not bad for sagebrush.
No, it's no good. So yeah, that was a great mix in between there. So trying to get to Burning Man from the East Coast and flying and Burner Express bus and all is a completely different experience than being able to rent or drive a vehicle.
Yeah. How do you manage getting all of your survival gear out here?
Well, when you're flying, you got to be real picky. So we would do military sea bags. So the big green duffel bags, they are amazing for Burning Man in general. And you grab one or two of those, a cooler, and you just pack everything in. And you do the Burner Express bus, which I love the Burner Express bus. But I have to say, every time I've used it, there's been a problem completely out of control, out of the control of Burning Man. First year was 19. There was the accident on the road heading into the burn. So we were stuck on the side of the road there for a couple hours. And then one of my greatest Burning Man calamities, and there have been many, was my second burn. 22, get off the bus, and I'd met somebody on the bus, and we were chatting, and they told me they didn't have a blanket for their first day at Burning Man. Some of their stuff was coming in. I'm like, hey, I got an extra blanket. I'll give it to you and run it back by my bar if you want later on in the burn. So I give him a blanket, and it was a whiteout when the bus pulled up to Playa. So give him the blanket, gave him a hug, and then went to go try to find my bags. Couldn't find one of my pieces of luggage. So I'm looking around and people are starting to leave and I don't see this dang bag. And then I start to notice that I see a bag that looks a lot like mine.
Oh no.
But it's not mine. So I'm putting together the pieces, and as we're all probably guessing, somebody took my bag by accident. So I
Many pieces of luggage look alike. Please check your tag.
They sure do. Definitely differentiate your frickin' luggage, which I didn't do. So I'm heading to my camp. The bag that was taken has my underwear, my socks, my sunscreen, lag bolts for my tent. I mean, there was some heavy hitters. If you're wondering what was in the bag that they meant to take but didn't, it was about 75 plastic Ziploc bags, a couple of bell peppers, and some paperwork.
Motherfuckers.
So I'm having a rough day, and I'm walking back, and it was a pretty good walk back to my camp from the bus. And I've got my other bags, I got my bike, and as I'm going by, there's these two guys, older gentlemen, and they like, hey, want a beer? Which is just, again, serendipity, right? Which is what Burning Man is best at. So I sit down with these guys, and they're like, hey, do you want us to ride you to your camp? And I look over, and I've seen it since then. It's like a double-decker kind of Matchbox car looking hot rod thing. all black, things super dope. So I roll up to my camp with these guys.
Hell yeah.
They, take my bags off. And I think one of the most special moments of Burning Man, I was talking to Dwayne, who is one of our camp leads. And I was like, dude, like this happened. And, I don't have underwear and socks. And just the way he looked at me is like, we got you. You're good. We will get you. So before you know it, I wore thongs, knee-high socks, all burn long. It was amazing. A couple days later, I go back to get my bag. I was with the person that helped me out was what is it? I want to. I don't think her Playa name is Old Milk. It might be. I called her Old Milk, and I think she may have corrected me, but I'm going to go with that.
If that's how she lives in your mind, that is her
That's
name.
what it is. She's Whole Milk, and I thought it was Old Milk. Anywho, she said that the guy had come back to get his bag, and she was like, well, where's this other guy's bag? And he's like, oh, I dropped it off at, Playa Lost and Found, Playa Info. And she's like, go fucking get it. So I was able to finally get my stuff back, but I'll tell you what, I kept wearing other people's underwear.
Oh, yeah. I mean, once they're in your possession, those are your underwear. Mm-hmm. And obviously, you learned a little something about yourself.
It's actually a part of my, let's call it the genital growth that I've had, no pun intended, at Burning Man.
I think we already addressed genital growth in this interview once.
Frankie Muniz's balls. In 19, first burn, I've never really been comfortable with nudity, my own. Other people's I'm quite comfortable with, but my own not. Body image issues and all that, right? So my camp has a booth that can be many different things. It has different signs. And one day we were running it as the Genital Appreciation Station.
Nice.
And I think it's a perfect example of the type of things that people just misunderstand about Burning Man. I think a lot of people would hear that and think about, it's perverted and people just want to see balls, which of course we do. But there's actually something more to it. And if you know burners, you really know that, it's about getting people more comfortable with their bodies. And, watching people do this genital appreciation station and their backgrounds and what they're coming from, like some people being so comfortable with it and some people having actual breakthroughs there, like that was what it was for me. It's a breakthrough in being able to, and everybody cheers when you pull your pants down. It's awesome. So that's where it started, evolved with wearing other people's underpants. And eventually I'm just getting my nuts crushed in front of a giant crowd.
Sounds like a complete Burning Man experience.
Yeah, right? That's what we're looking for here.
So how did you get involved with this theme camp? Was Tarzan already part of BRCU?
No, especially because we're coming from the East Coast. It's a lot easier to burn with a larger camp, especially in the beginning. So I was looking for one, and I found a post on the Burning Man subreddit that they were looking for some members a couple years before, I think. And in the post, somebody had commented, I think it was a horror story about how it's a bit of an infamous incident that had happened. You see, somebody had put an unauthorized item in the Porto, a hygiene item, if you will. And when United came to pump this Porto, of course, that item is going to clog the pump. So what does the pump operator do with a clogged hose?
Try to suck the blockage out of the end of it with their mouths?
When that doesn't work, you reverse flow it onto the Playa.
Oh, well, I don't. Maybe you do.
I don't, but I also don't work for United, so.
Well, that's a relief.
So the fallout of that event got some heat there, but I think there's a real misunderstanding in what it takes to truly successfully run a giant theme camp of 100 people that focuses on helping new burners and virgins. And, yeah. It completely changes the dynamics of what the camp is and what the experience there is like.
Hold, pause. Let me just make sure I've got this right. Theme camp is 100 plus burners, and you run a 24-hour bar, and it's welcoming to newbies.
I think the number is like 40 or 50% of the camp. The goal, like somewhere in that range, every year the goal was for that number to be virgins.
Holy shit. That's a big bite.
Camp shower, 2 meals a day, killer food, the bar, we do events. I feel like there's one or two other things I'm missing as well. Yeah.
Like 24-hour bar, just the thought of it is kind of shrinking my asshole closed right now.
Yes.
Wow. Serious.
Yes. Yeah. So I think this won't surprise you then to hear that after 23, the camp took a break last year, and in 23 made the decision to rebrand and redirect. It's a lot of burners that have been going for a long time from the Reno area, and I think they're ready for a different mission. Let somebody else take that mantle. I think the move is going to be changing the name a little bit and going to a different gift. Probably keep the bar.
Maybe not 24 hours.
I don't think it's going to be 24 hours. No. Don't quote me on this. The camp is BRCU. We have the 4 big letters as our frontage. And I think they may be re-racking those letters to be curb your expectations.
Nice. Oh, I like that.
On that piece about, a big camp versus solo. So we did 3 years with BRCU. By the way, in my second burn, I went without Tarzan. He still has a great deal of resentment against me. I know he wouldn't let me live it down if I didn't publicly acknowledge that here. He's still very upset. In fact,
let down
I
your
talked to
pal.
him. Yeah, no, he was not happy. It was a good burn for me.
I thought that was our thing.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Did he go separately from you, or was he unable to go and was angry that you were able to?
Yes.
Oh, come on, Tarzan.
Yeah.
He has attachment issues. He grew up in the jungle.
We've been through everything together. Many things I wouldn't want to.
Not that 1 year at Burning Man. I hear it was pretty great, too.
22 was the hot as all hell year for me.
Yeah.
That was a rough one. But we got to be in the rain together, which was great.
I think 22 is the worst weather situation we've ever experienced. Like, the rains were intense and fucked up a lot of people's burn, but 22 was just awful.
It's not funny when it's hot. It's very funny when it's wet.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was times it was funny. There was also times where it very much wasn't funny at all.
Disagree. It wasn't funny for different people in turn, but it remained funny in aggregate throughout.
When it was funny for me was in the rain, Tarzan was with a bunch of people that were in a couple carports that were next to us at our camp. We were all hanging out together, and they imbibe in some gummy treats. And they were a lower dosage of gummy, if you catch my drift.
Uh-huh.
I think the person that gave them said, oh, they're like, 5 milligrams each or whatever. Uh-huh. And Tarzan takes them and he's like, no, these weren't 5, and looks at the bottle, and she did her math a bit wrong. Each one was actually 25 milligrams, I think, is how the math had worked out. So now the group of people that I'm hanging out with, I don't partake. My employment doesn't allow me to. So I'm the sober one, at least in that sense. Just watching the group of the six of them just melt down in the rain. Everybody's covered in plastic bags. So that was a good one for me in 23, for sure.
There are few substances that can compete with the unpleasantness of too much edibles.
Wouldn't know. I'll take your word for it. Being unable to partake in those kind of things, but I do drink. This year was probably like the middle of the burn, and Tarzan had gotten after it. He's feeling pretty good, and he's like, I need to get you a drink or two. I need you to loosen up. I'm like, okay. So we head out towards Esplanade, and I'm just looking for a bar that, just looks right, feels right. And I'm not sure if you've ever seen this bar on Esplanade. The one that we stopped at, and I really didn't put 2 and 2 together on why this camp was named this, but I figured it out pretty soon. It was called High Octane. Uh-huh. And I was standing there for a bit. My cup was a big Stanley Stein. There was a couple people behind the bar, but nobody would look at me. And eventually somebody was kind of acknowledged, like, oh, you're here for a drink? Oh, okay. All right, fine. And it was kind of like a spite pour. It was a malicious pour of alcohol. He had filled the entire Stein. And I figured out pretty quickly why that camp is called High Octane. And that was the night that I found my favorite art piece on Playa this year. I think it was a rogue piece. Did you all see this? It was off like the 2 o'clock-ish side. You start to go into deep Playa, and it was the kind of hexagonal building just outside of the fence line.
Oh, no. There was
And
something outside the fence.
it was right there. And I think I'd heard, and I heard the person who put it together kind of talking about it, that they didn't get placed. So I think it was a rogue piece.
Uh-huh.
You walk in and there's high ceilings in like these 2 hexagonal rooms. And both rooms are like drenched in like this soft pink neon light. And the entire room is filled with these large balloons full of, I imagine, like helium or something. So they float. And there's like 40 of these like floating balloons in this room. And people are just coming in and like hitting them. And it was so good. I was also like pretty inebriated from that giant stein of high octane alcohol, like grain liquor. So, but I think that was one of the most special things I interacted with this year. It was really good.
That sounds like fun. Balloons are often a good time.
It's scratches a very adolescent itch, if you will. Did you see the meeting table in Deep Playa this year?
No.
Oh,
Like a big conference room table?
it is my favorite art piece ever.
Oh, wow.
It is a regular but large conference room table with, I guess, 6 or 8 chairs, kind of bolted into the playa, but it's all there. And I actually held 2 meetings this year. And one of the meetings, we would always use Robert's rules. If
You ought to.
the first motion was to end the meeting. And it passed. So it was a pretty fast meeting.
Quality meeting.
Yeah, efficient.
The other meeting was great. It was some folks that were in the camp right next to us. And we had actually seen them the day before. They all dropped acid and went on a bike ride. And, right off the bat, it looked like it wasn't going well. Somebody was wearing a wedding dress veil that got stuck in their bike gears. And it just went south from there. In the meeting, we found out that they didn't bring enough water or sustenance, and things got gnarly pretty quick out there. So a motion was made to ensure that everybody is hydrated properly while dropping acid out in Deep Playa, and I thought that was a great motion.
Humanist.
See, that's one of those meetings that couldn't have been an email.
Yeah. Politics can work.
Yeah. I'd like to talk about my first 24 hours at Burning Man ever.
Fabulous.
And they really shaped my relationship with the event. I think I've grown a lot since I first started going to Burning Man, probably like more so than any other like same length of period of time in my life. And I attribute a lot of that to, this trip we take every year and the experience that happens and what can happen in that short period of time. And just to kind of lighten things up, this story does involve a shot called a cum shot. So please don't be afraid. This won't be super stiff. No pun intended again.
Oof.
So, I told you we came off the Burner Express bus that year in 19, and we had been stuck on the side of the road for like 3 or 4 hours in the heat. So we're pretty smoked at that point, and we got 4 or 5 bags. We have to make our way from the bus depot to our camp, which was a few blocks. And right as we were wrangling with that prospect, somebody rolls up with a wheelbarrow and says, "Put your shit in here. Let's go." Okay. So they load our stuff up into the wheelbarrow. And I remember like this very conflicting feeling of like when somebody does something for me, I feel like I owe them something, whether it's compensation or doing something back in kind. And like even in that moment, I'm kind of like wrangling with what the economy, if you will, and what that is at Burning Man and how it differs from what I'm used to. So we get to camp, she dumps our shit in the dust and walks away and doesn't say anything.
Perfect.
And I really feel like that was a great indoctrination of Burning Man. The next day, there was 3 of us that went my first year. It was me, Tarzan, and a really, really good friend of ours, Jason, who I think is finally going to come back to Burning Man in 25. We had rented bikes from when they allowed you to do it, Hammer and Cyclery. Don't get me started on that shit. I think it's a travesty. Those camps aren't allowed to do that anymore. And like, you want to talk about decommodification and all this shit. Like, let people rent bikes at Burning Man. Such bullshit. That's just my personal opinion. So we get our bikes from Hammer and Cyclery, and we go back out to the street that the camp's on, and I see somebody who volunteers at the camp is like, "Hey, look at this," and they point over to another volunteer from Hammer and Cyclery, and a man who's on a bike, and I'm like, "What's happening here?" And they're like, "One of our camp members is teaching this guy. He's deaf. He's never ridden a bike before. He's learning how to ride a bike right now." And just like sitting there and watching this moment is like, this is so freaking special, right? So from there, we head off and we start to explore the city for the first time. And we head over to like the end of the city, I think on like the 9 o'clock side. And we find a bar there. It's one of Burning Man's many like ski themed bars, I believe, because a ski themed bar can then attach shot glasses to a ski. And we're like, okay, yeah, what drinks do you guys have? This is my first drink at Burning Man, mind you. And they're like, well, the special of the day is the cum shot. I'm like, okay. And like, this is my first introduction to like in the city stuff in Burning Man. And this guy's making this shot. And at one point I'm like, hey man, is there cum in this thing?
No, sir. Cream liqueur, raspberry jam, and vodka.
So they load these shots into these giant dick syringes, which just kudos. Mm-hmm. Tarzan and I both get on our knees. This wonderful looking camper is just administering his. It goes very neatly into his open mouth. The gentleman that gave me mine just like 6-roped it all over my face. I get bukkakied at my first bar in Burning Man. Is that the first time somebody said bukkake on this podcast?
No.
Couldn't possibly be.
Absolutely. Sorry.
I don't want to get greedy. I have the best balls already. I guess
if you were like, thank you, maybe.
So just to like wrap all this up, right? Like this is so much of this of these quintessential Burning Man experiences in the short period of time. We leave that camp after I wipe coconut cream liquor off my face. And
oh shit. So I was gonna like guess, was that gonna be like Irish cream, sour cream, or mayonnaise? And I would have been wrong with all three.
I think it was like coconut cream, Malibu, and I don't know what else. I mean, it was shoved into a dick syringe and shot on me, so I didn't get a lot of time to figure out the
99 bananas, probably.
As we're riding back, we pass by this guy, and I have tattoos, and I see this guy has a great tattoo on his calf, and I'm getting used to this thing in Burning Man. Again, this is my first day there. And, you know, the social interactions you can have, which, by the way, is my favorite part of the event. It's why I will go every year that I possibly can until I get sick of it, but whatever. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, hey, man, great tattoo. And we're just riding by on the bikes, you know? And, like, if you think about how that interaction would go in the normal world, right? Like, oh, thanks, man, or nothing, or whatever. And what he says is, oh, thank you so much. I got it from my son who passed away that I'm bringing a memorial for him to the temple this year. Oh. And it's just like, throw the brakes, do a U-turn. And like, we just have an incredible conversation with this person. And it's like, those experiences right there is what like changed me for Burning Man and helped me like understand what this thing really is and what it can be and how special it can be. I have another question for you guys to that point. Do you think that has changed at all at Burning Man on how people show up to Burning Man over the years?
I'm going to say no.
Yeah, seems pretty similar to me.
Mm-hmm. What's happened is that it's gotten incredibly big. But this happened a long time ago. And the scale that it's in now means that there's always going to be a larger proportion of people showing up who haven't had those experiences in the city yet. Mm-hmm. They're going to be people on the receiving end of your experience. And when two of y'all meet up, that magic is slightly less likely to happen. So maybe it's thinned out slightly, but it always ends up there. Like people very quickly become burners or they leave.
Right. That is what I think is happening too, right? Is a little bit, the magic is by far, isn't gone. That still is happening, but like the acculturation, the changing of the guard a little bit in the burning community, probably playing into that some. And this year, especially like in the first couple of days, I found myself getting frustrated because I wasn't having those experiences that I love so much. And some of that, right, is like setting yourself up with expectations. Uh-huh. But what I found halfway through the burn, this is like I said, this is our first year not in the camp. So we were out in the burbs at like 8:30 and that's the way for me from now on. And I drug a cooler out to the street that we were on right in front of our camp and just started, playing music and giving out drinks and water and booze. And that's when I realized, like, it's my job to create the environment that I want here and to set up that environment to have those experiences that I value so much. And the people that I met and the stuff that happened and in doing that for a couple of days of just like doing the burner thing and just handing out stuff and meeting people is just so good this year. So good.
Yeah, you can never really go wrong meeting your neighbors.
Oh, no, so good. And this was, especially in the burbs, you get all that like foot traffic. So, just meeting people as they're coming by.
Uh-huh. I think most of the time when you find yourself getting that feeling the magic isn't there. It's because you've been doing the exact same thing for a little while. You're repeating your Burning Man pattern, and really all you have to do is like go to the next camp over for a little bit, see what it's like over there. You'll be right back to it.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. You know, thinking about my first burn and really pivotal experiences, have you ever been to the gym that Comfort and Joy sets up?
No.
You ever seen that? Yeah, they bring it out every year. I think it's called the Pink Gym.
Uh-huh.
In 19, I was over at the Pink Gym, and Tarzan and I were just to be able to, say you worked out at Burning Man or whatever. And I crouched down to get a drink of water, and just my positioning had worked out perfectly so that I was exactly eye level, 6 feet away. There was a gentleman in assless chaps bench pressing, and I was 6 feet away from his pierced gooch when I looked up for my drink of water. And it really is just a really special moment for me. And, while we've talked a lot about all the dumb shit that I've done at the burn this year, I think I'd be remiss not to talk about some of the dumb shit that Tarzan has done as we get to know him while he isn't in the room with us. You know, at the end of the burn, after the man burns in the temple, what does every bar lack?
Mixers.
And what is everybody trying to get rid of?
Tarzan.
Hard liquor. So we had an early bus out in 19 Monday morning. So we had to tear down our tent and everything, but we had a couple hours in the middle of the night before we could walk over to the bus. Mm-hmm. So we were just bouncing around in some of these bars that are just filling up cups with just full-blown pure grain liquor. And I thought it would be funny just to get Tarzan super drunk. He was still drinking at the time. He doesn't anymore. And reasons like this are
so it's not that funny, this story we're going to hear.
No, it is, because he's doing great. If he wasn't, I wouldn't really be able to tell this story, or it wouldn't be as funny. So I get the man extremely trashed, and he's riding down the street on our bikes, and he gets his long robe that he was wearing stuck in his bike chain, falls over, and just starts pointing and screaming at me for how obliterated I just got him, because he knew exactly what I was doing. And that was the same year he was getting off an art car in deep Playa. A woman fell on his back and blew his ankle out.
Ooh,
and the woman and her partner took care of him all night and walked him like from the art car, brought him back to his tent, gave him a bunch of medication, in quotes, and tucked him into his bed in his tent.
Good.
He still doesn't know how they knew where his tent was because they were leading him to his tent. He doesn't know how any of that worked out. But he brings a whole element to really anywhere that he goes.
He probably gave them directions, but the medication made him forget.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now back to the dumb shit that I do. In 24, this was the first year that we drove. I rented a Uhaul truck, and we were in Reno, and it was nighttime. We had stopped and parked somewhere so that Tarzan could get some stuff. I grabbed a beer at a bar. I could see the truck. I wanted to keep an eye on it because we had a bunch of stuff strapped into the back of it. And as I get outside with my beer, I see that there is somebody, because the truck was kind of parked in the darkness. Uh-huh. And there's somebody on the side of the truck, and it looks like they're reaching into the back of the pickup truck. So I'm in this bar, and there's a little fence kind of, from the bar to the street. So I put my beer down, I hop the fence, and I start sprinting towards the truck. And I don't know why the only word that would come out of my freaking mouth is mine. So
Mine!
So I just start yelling the word mine over and over again like a seagull from Finding Nemo. And I'm pointing and I'm like, mine. And the figure next to the truck, as I'm getting closer, isn't moving. It's not reacting in any way. And as I get closer, it's just Tarzan smoking a cigarette. So embarrassed. Never went back to get my beer.
No, you don't need that beer.
No, I didn't need it at all.
Look, Reno is kind of a paranoid town. It's cool.
I get it. Like, it gave me those vibes. I don't know what that was.
Post-industrial city.
It's a lot of Nevada is like that for me. Like there's going to be a stabbing soon, and it doesn't have to be me involved. long as I keep my head on a swivel.
Yeah, turns out I don't have any strong opinions either way.
One of the truly sketchy things still coming out there.
Uh-huh.
In what year is it? 22, that, was it that carousel swing? That was kind of by like Rod's Road over there?
You're talking about the one that has like several different types of trapeze?
No, this is like, not carousel, like the big spinning wheel. Like, what do they call it?
Oh, like a Ferris
wheel? Yeah.
Oh, the self-propelled
one?
Ferris wheel.
Yes.
Yeah, those are cool.
Horrifying.
Yeah, I don't think I need to trust that.
No.
It's not put up by real carnies. How do I know their meth is good?
Stone 27, though, in 19. I know you had that artist on.
Oh, yeah. Fuck that guy. I mean, incredible artist, but terrifying work he does.
He agrees.
Yeah, which is also wild.
I loved Stone 27. That's one of my favorite climbables of all time.
It's so good.
Yeah. The ramp up of difficulty balancing across the last like 2 stones is just mind boggling.
So good. Yeah, it really is. And that was, it was right close to Folly. That year was so good.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. I really wanted on my Burning Man bucket list to do an all-nighter. And that was the night we did Stone 27 and a bunch of other things out there. And the goal was to watch the sunrise from Folly, because I think that was the night before it burned. So we're over there, and I actually lose Tarzan while we're going through Folly up to one of the spires that it had. So I'm up on this square balcony with a bunch of people, and we're all waiting for the sun to rise, and I can't find Tarzan. I don't know where the hell this guy went, and this is like totally his MO. And I see his bike in the distance where we had parked him, so I know he's still there. And I was on one of these square spires or whatever it is. There was a couple of them. You can kind of see them all from where you're standing, where other people were as well. And I had made friends with this couple that was there, and I told them my situation. I was like, I can't find my buddy Tarzan. And the woman just starts yelling his name. It's like, Tarzan. And from one of the spires that was in front of us on a balcony where all these people were standing, I just see what looks to be like an 80-year-old woman, like swaddled in like a jacket, turn around and look at us, and it's actually Tarzan with a giant shit-eating grin. He had been there the entire time. But that's just, life with my best friend.
So where did you first meet Tarzan?
His grandmother's house was right next to my dad's house when I was growing up, when we were kids.
Jersey friendship.
Yes, Jersey friendship.
Wow, you guys have been friendships since kids. They have been friendships since kids.
Yeah,
yes.
no, they are friendships still now.
Yeah, please to be leaving my word in pod cursed, Deidre.
Yeah, yep. He's been with me thick and thin, honestly. And again, I will never live down when I didn't take him to the burn.
Well, I'm glad that didn't shatter it for you that you two are still burning together.
Yeah,
despite the hiccup.
Dealing with him has been like a big growth point for me. If the shortest distance between points A and B is a straight line, he will never do that. It will always be like the most convoluted, long, unnecessary path to get there. But the product that he comes up with at B is really good. And this year we were putting up our shade structure, and he had smoked a lot before he put this shade structure up. And he's got all of this paracord, and he's trying to tie a knot. And I had to take video of it. It's 25 minutes of the worst knot I have ever seen in my life.
Over and under and around and back through. And
I will send it to you just to show you how abhorrent this thing is.
Great.
And in 23, when we did the pirate event, I'd been working with him on this for months before the burn. I mean, I put together a whole like songbook of sea shanties so that people could know what they're singing, and it was good. I'm like, hey man, like I need your help setting up the event. And what he starts to do is take scrap wood from around the camp and build a boat. So he is going from camp to camp from our neighbors, trying to get the parts he needs to build this wooden boat. This was never part of the plan, mind you. And I'm setting up this event. The event's happening, and he is still somewhere building a boat. And I'm so pissed at him at this point. This guy is killing me. I'm like, I'm just doing this event by myself, and you're building a fucking boat, and why? And that boat wound up being one of the greatest things I've ever seen because it had 2 rope handles and you could stand inside of it. It was probably like 5 feet long, 2 feet wide, something like that. It was a wooden boat and you pull it up and you can walk around holding this boat up. And we had a giant inflatable shark. So what we would do is invite people to get in the boat with us. I'd be like, hey, come on in. And somebody would come and we'd both be standing up holding this boat together. But they didn't know that Tarzan was hiding on the side of the camp with a giant inflatable shark. So he would come running out and start attacking us with the shark, with the unknowing person that was...
Jaws pranks.
So good. So good. So, it's awful a lot of the times, but it usually works out pretty good.
Sounds like it.
So what is your plan for your next burn? Are you going to do anything different?
Yeah, you making an art car?
No, I draw the line there.
Smart.
I took the year off from Gate this year. I want to go back and do some shifts in the lanes again. Probably not as many as I had before. Definitely back in the burbs and just do more of what gave us the most joy out there, which was, giving back to other people.
Hand stuff.
Yay, do I get to meet them? Compost Queen, Tarzan, come to the listener appreciation party. I'd like to see your faces.
Compost Queen says that he is not coming out this year.
Boo!
But hopefully Tarzan is, and I'm sure we'll meet them at some point. They are a fabulous listen.
Yay. Come say hi.
Beth, something you don't know about this episode because you haven't heard it yet.
What, me? I always listen to the podcast religiously.
But not yet. We talk a lot about Frankie Muniz.
Oh my God.
In this episode.
Oh no.
And I have to apologize to everyone about that. But like 3 weeks after we recorded this audio, it was announced that there is going to be a Malcolm in the Middle reunion season.
Jesus Christ.
With Bryan Cranston.
I know. That would be the only reason you would do it.
The aforementioned Frankie Muniz.
Oh, doesn't he not remember that? And his
he was in a horrible car crash?
Maybe his brain grew back. That's the thing brains do now.
Whew.
Has he learned to act with the rest of his body yet? Or is
am
it
not
still all
going
shoulders?
to opine on Frankie Muniz's face.
Shoulders.
It's not his face. He's a shoulder actor. He's a scapula actor.
If he had a face, he would act with it. This is a challenge to Tarzan. Tarzan, we know you listen to this episode because you're Compost Queen's best, oldest, smartest friend. And this is calling you out to come on the podcast yourself so you can tell us all about your balls.
Okay.
Beth, wait until you hear this balls story.
This is Accuracy Third. We are now a balls podcast.
I mean, haven't we been the whole time?
So, Rex, how are things going on the Discord?
Cool. Also, if you are feeling like calling in and joining us and telling us your story in the future,
Tarzan.
We have recently made a slight upgrade to our studio, which should reduce the chance of pixelated audio.
That's true. At least on our end.
At least on our end.
At least on our end.
And if you come into the studio, we recently cleaned it for the first time since we got it. And now it is a little bit less oppressively cluttered.
It looks great in here.
It does.
Thanks
It
for
really
doing
does.
that, guys.
It feels
Yeah.
so nice.
Yeah, it's now delightfully cluttered.
Yeah.
Thoughtfully cluttered.
Thoughtfully cluttered. Details. Not clutter.
Thank you to our patrons on Patreon. Shouting out a couple of our new patrons on Patreon. Thank you, patrons on Patreon. At the $1 level, we now have E Industrial and Buttercup and Caleb N and Dylan B and Nicholas D. Thank you. Thank you for helping us produce this podcast.
Holy shit, you guys. You could have bought... What can you get for $1?
I mean, over the
Most
course
of a candy
year, they're giving us $12, which will let you buy a sweater at Ross
Or
if you look in the clearance
Or
aisle.
a dozen eggs.
Who knows by the time this episode drops?
That's true. Things are bleak out there.
Oh.
Thank you for contributing to our little showy show that we do here. We really, truly appreciate it. $1 buys the intention for this show to continue doing what we're doing.
Yeah, $1 a month is like committing to buying each of us a beer at a cheap place.
I can sometimes get 2 12-packs for $1 at grocery outlet.
But they're always skunked.
They're not always skunked.
always
They're
skunked.
not always skunked.
Never not had skunked beer from grocery outlet.
Then stop drinking my beer, Beth.
That's
It's
not,
obviously not all skunked.
It's because you bought that at Costco.
I did buy this last batch at Costco, yes.
Yeah. When I find that you have purchased a skunk beer, I do stop drinking it.
Until we're all out of all of the rest of the beer.
I mean, that is fair.
Accuracy Third is produced by Accuracy Third. The music in this episode is by Late Bus. Why not? Late Bus, thank you for all your music.
If you would like your music on Accuracy Third, and we would like your music on Accuracy Third, probably, give us a shout at accuracythird@gmail.com. That's also where you email us if you would like to share your story, which is really the thing we need. Music, we can figure it out. There's all sorts of royalty-free shit on YouTube. Everyone else uses it. Why wouldn't we?
Yeah, and money is a thing that some of you can provide, but others of you obviously can't. And why would we ask you for money? But you are the only thing that you can give us that is really deeply foundationally important to Accuracy Third.
And it's free.
Come be on the podcast. Give us a couple hours of your time. Get over whatever weird fear you have about it, because why haven't you been on it yet?
One of our newest Patreon subscribers is Gramps, recent interviewee Gramps.
Oh, fuck. Gramps is great.
Gramps is great. Thank you, Gramps.
Wait till y'all get a load of Gramps.
Oh, my God.
Like 4 or 5 episodes from now, maybe. I don't know. We got a lot in the can. And we've got a bunch in the trunk.
And I mean, for that matter, E-Industrial already gave us not just his story, but the story of Soakers.
Oh, my
That's true.
gosh. That is accurate.
Very
E-Industrial.
true. Thank you for that. Thank you to all of our correspondents out there. I know that Zeno is working on a bunch of audio that he grabbed at Resto this year. I think we're going to get 2 or 3 episodes from him.
Oh, finally. Someone interviewed Resto.
We couldn't. We had to go back to work.
I have to work.
I have a family.
Yeah.
It turns out I have so many families. Goodbye.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Bye.
BurnerNarc.com. Hand stuff. Hand stuff.
So that was 23, and I did. I came in for build, so we did built the camp. I was also doing gate shifts at that time. Did some gate shifts during the event. I held the pirate event, and I also did a 24-hour lead shift for the camp. I don't know why I did this to myself. I have a bit of a problem. And I was getting really burnt out, but I was having a lot of fun, and I was doing really cool things. And I was like, it was Friday, and I was like, it was my last day of doing stuff. And I'm like, Saturday, I'm going to burn. Saturday, I'm going to do a whole damn burn. I hadn't even gone past Esplanade yet during the event week. I never went past Esplanade. So Saturday was my day. It was time to do some Burning Man in 2023, Saturday of event week.
Had you worked yourself so hard that you went to bed before the rain started Friday?
No, we were having our Canada Day event, which is like USA versus Canada Day, because we have a bunch of Canadians in the camp. It's one of our best events. And then that night, I had a pop-up set up at Golden Guy. I was going to do bring Black and Tans and do a pirate shanty singing event at Golden Guy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I almost left. I almost left with a wagon full of booze. I would have been stranded. At least I would have had a lot of dark rum.
Yeah. Somebody would have taken care of you in exchange for that.
Mm-hmm. So I, instead of getting to do Burning Man, I just hung out in the camp with, plastic bags taped to my feet. That was my method, socks and plastic bags. I really wish I had the ingenuity and just gall to wear plumpers. I will.
Oh, don't encourage him.
Suspenders,
no.
man.
I know.
Get yourself some real good suspenders.
I know. No, I will. You really inspired a whole generation, honestly.
C-Rex, I am a tastemaker. And you, sir, have exceptional balls. Like, what better way to present them than...
And Frankie fucking Muniz.